morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at the very first Duraludon card that we've ever seen in the Pokemon trading card game. Now, Duraludon is one of the new Pokemon from Sword and Shield, but it's not new, if that makes any sense whatsoever. By that I mean that we had him spoiled, revealed, leaked, whatever you'll call it, a little while ago. It was a Pokemon that was shown off on the official website quite a while back now, like 4 months ago. And what's really weird is I made a video about whether it's better than Tyranitar, just generally as a Pokemon, and that video, over the past few days, has really started to take off, at least by my own modest standards. So, a little bit weird, but I'm kind of liking it, ladies and gentlemen. Kind of liking it. So this Duraludon then, it is a promo in the Korokoro magazine over in Japan, and if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it again. I don't care that I don't read Japanese, really. Release it over here, I will subscribe in a heartbeat. Also, the set isn't even out yet, and this is promo number 30. Yowza! Now, I was always under the impression Duraludon was actually a Stage 2, if it was a rival with Tyranitar. Turns out, Duraludon's a basic, although does, tiny spoiler, does Gigantamax, or at least is able to. So we have 130 HP, which is quite nice when it comes to basic Pokemon. It means something like a Sylveon, for instance, which is fixing to be quite good post-rotation, or at least post-Sword and Shield, will be 10 damage short of getting a KO, so that's kind of nice. And you are a metal Pokemon, which means you get lots of cool little tricks. You've got Metal Frying Pan to take away your weakness and mean that you take 30 less from attacks. Or indeed Metal Goggles, which also means you take 30 less from attacks, but instead of taking away your weakness, means your opponent cannot drop damage counters on you. Or Metal Core Barrier, which reduces damage done to you by 70, but only for a turn, then it falls off. So you got lots of ways to make yourself a little bit beefier. And of course there is the fairly obvious combo at this stage with Lucario and Melmetal. So even though you've got 130 HP, we can build this up a little bit. The bulk can keep going. It doesn't have to sit at 130 HP. And of course, you are then hitting weakness against a whole bunch of stuff, like Gardevoir and Sylveon, all them their fairy Pokemon. Now, what is very, very strange here is, now being a metal Pokemon, it's weak to fire, that's expected. It's a bit annoying with all the Welder decks running around. Fire is not insignificant at the moment. But what's really weird is a resistance to grass. When was the last time anything had a resistance to grass? The answer is February 2007 with EX Power Keepers, where we saw Pokemon like Metagross EX and Skarmory EX having a resistance to grass. Cool. And it looks very much like lightning Pokemon are losing their resistance to metal, so it looks like the resistances are being a little bit mucked around with in Sword and Shield. That makes me kinda happy. The retreat cost of 2, however, is kinda high, boo, etc. But what does it actually do? Well, the first attack, 1 metal, 2 colorless energy, flat 70 damage. It's fine. It's not great. It's not garbage. But then again, when I first got into the Pokemon trading card game, and I've told the story many, many times, one of the very first Pokemon that I really identified with was Donphan Prime, who did 60 for 1 energy. That was like a decade ago. Now 70 for 3 energy's not bad. And the thing is that we need to look at the Pokemon you're trying to hit here. So if you're talking about evolving Pokemon, this is actually really nice. So, you've got all those 70 HP basics that will go down here. Poipole, there we go, he's a 70 HP basic that sees quite a lot of play. But outside of that, And then, of course, if you're hitting stuff for weakness, then yeah, you'll be getting a KO on a lot of non-GXs but not all of them. So take the Gardevoir from Lost Thunder, for instance, 130 you will be getting a KO. Fairy Pokemon tend to be on the slightly weaker side, but then you get to Gardevoir and Sylveon, and 140 isn't even close to the 260 that you need to hit to KO them. So not a terrible first attack, not absolute utter garbage, but not particularly amazing. But then we get to the second attack, and the second attack is why I think this card might stand a chance. Bearing in mind, we don't expect much from magazine promos. I mean, to be honest with you, outside Japan, we don't really get magazine promos. We used to. We haven't for a while now. But it's actually pretty good. 1 metal, 3 colorless energy, 150 damage. And honestly, at this stage, I just lament the fact that you cannot use triple acceleration energy on a basic. Because otherwise, 1 metal energy, triple acceleration energy, boom, you're off, you're rolling, you're good to go. And the thing is, this isn't a Pokemon around which you build a deck. That's not the point of this Duraludon. The point of this Duraludon is very simple. I need a Pokemon to hit for metal weakness, to get cheeky KOs. He'll do. That is the point of this Duraludon. Now, there's a deck doing the rounds, the Naganadel deck. And it basically revolves around using the GX attack, putting your opponent down to 3 prizes, then taking a KO to try and win the game. Cool. So you basically need to be able to hit every weakness, and that's where the metal comes in. Now, I kind of like the Steelix from Lost Thunder here. This is the one for, again, metal, treble, colorless, 170. You do 50 to yourself, and basically the downside of this is you can one-hit KO Gardevoir and Sylveon, but then they naturally do 150, the attack brings you down to 130, they will then get a KO. So the prevailing wisdom in terms of having a Pokemon to do that is actually Melmetal GX. Because it's 4 colorless energy, it's an evolved Pokemon, so you can use triple acceleration energy, and you evolve it from Ditto, and essentially you leave an energy on there, and then at the right time you go boom Melmetal, boom triple acceleration energy, get a one-hit KO on Gardevoir and Sylveon, and with you having 220 HP, and an ability whereby you take 30 less from attacks, the chances of your opponent getting a revenge KO are, let's say, fairly slim. Well, this will do a similar thing. I mean, you're doing 150, and basically here, you just get the KOs that you need to get. That's what you do. This is a Pokemon that goes, oh, you need to get a KO on a Metal Weak Pokemon. I got your back, boy. I got your back. And it's a basic Pokemon, and it's a single prize attacker. And the triple acceleration energy not working hurts. But we do still have the aforementioned Welder. We do still have Malamar. And we'll be getting a bunch of other energy acceleration in the not too distant future. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm sure we will. You could always use something like the Magnezone that lets you accelerate as much metal energy during your turn as you like. Or even the Solgaleo Prism Star that lets you accelerate a whole bunch of metal energy from your discard pile, and they'll work just fine. Solgaleo for 1 energy lets you attach 1 metal energy from your discard pile for each of your opponent's Pokemon in play. So they've got 6, you get to attach 6, and so on. So there are options for getting the energy out there. Not having a triple acceleration energy is, it's awkward. But you can't win them all, ladies and gentlemen. This is useful. If you have got a deck with energy acceleration, where you just really do not like playing against Gardevoir and Sylveon, or any fairy Pokemon or Metal Weak Pokemon, this is essentially where we go here. You go, right, this'll work, single prize Pokemon, off we go. It's not a Pokemon around which you build a deck, it is a tech that you chuck in. It's interesting that it's a basic, because I just assumed it was a stage 2 if it had a beef with Tyranitar. And it's really interesting that metal Pokemon seem to have lost their psychic resistance and gained a grass resistance. Cool. So let's go ahead and give it a nice solid 3 Wassies. A nice Pokemon with which to begin our proper coverage of Sword and Shield cards. But certainly I think we'll be seeing a lot better as we go along. Still rather nice, but only as a tech to take down certain Pokemon. But I'd like to know what you think about this, ladies and gentlemen, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.